If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you've seen any of my videos previously, welcome back. I am in the process of just coming up with different content, and really and truly a lot of it's going to be just me reflecting on my life and things I'm interested in and improving in my art, and just finding the motivation to make art. I figured this video would be a good time to just kind of talk about being okay with yourself, I guess, not being hard on yourself, and just taking the time you need to grow, to improve, to just be okay with where you're at now. Like, I'm not saying be complacent with where you are now if you're not satisfied with where you are now. It's just having the patience with yourself and the understanding with yourself that you are a work in progress, right? And to also not compare yourself to other people, because I find that I do that sometimes too, where I see other people, whether it's my friends, family members, people on YouTube, people, all the influencers, where I'm just like, they have so many followers. Oh my God, their art is just immaculate. It's chef's kiss, or I get to a point where I'm like, this person is the same age as me, or they're a couple of years younger than me, and they've got a family already, they've got a house, their credit score is whatever, like, I find all of these things to be just a negative downward spiral, where I'm like, I'm not where I want to be in life. And I think back to when I was younger, and all the adults would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I had so many wild dreams and aspirations to be this or that. And honestly, if you had told younger me that this is where I would be at my age, I would not believe you, and honestly, I would be very disappointed. And that's me being transparent. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy or a Debbie Downer, but realistically, if we're going to have a candid conversation, I oftentimes think about where I ideally would want to see myself. When you start that conversation of where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Depending on the day that you ask me, I have a clear vision of where I see myself in 5 years. And any other given day, I have no idea where I'm going to be at in 5 years. I don't know where I'm going to be at next week, and just the pressure of having a distinct answer to that kind of question is also anxiety inducing for me. And that goes back to comparing myself to other people as well, where other people might have a very clear, definitive answer of where they're going to be at in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And even if they don't know for sure where they're going to be at, they have a general idea. And that idea doesn't really change that much. I find that sometimes I have an idea of where I'm going to be at in 5 to 10 years. But then a week or two later, I find myself adjusting or not sticking to that idea. And then furthermore, I don't have like a plan of how to execute where I see myself in 5 to 10 years. So that gives me a little bit of anxiety too. So I have to remind myself that Rome wasn't built overnight, and that, again, I'm a work in progress. It's okay to not know where I'm going to be. It's okay to not know exactly how I'm going to accomplish something 5 years from now. And then I also got to remind myself that no matter how much I plan for something, there's always going to be some adjustments, some changes that forces me to, kind of work around my plan a little bit more. So for example, like, I had an idea of what I was going to be doing in 2020. I had just become permanent at my current job, and I was super excited about it. It was my first quote unquote adult job, and I was going to be going to the office, every day out of the week, and I was going to be working my way up. I was going to be socializing. I was going to be doing all the business things, all the office woman things. And then literally the week that I became permanent and I, just knew that that's what I was going to be doing for the rest of the year, the pandemic hit. And I've never really lived through a pandemic. I'm sure I have before, maybe as a kid, but I had no idea what to expect for the pandemic, as it being my first time being living through the pandemic. But honestly, listening to the other quote unquote adults, because mind you, I was an adult at this time. I had to have been like 23. Needless to say, the what I like to think of as the real adults, because I didn't really feel like I was an adult. I couldn't confidently say I was an adult until maybe like 25. So 2 years after the pandemic started, I'm like, yep, I feel like an adult now. Let me know if I'm just like tripping and no one else feels like, man, I'm not a real adult, because I have that moment. You guys ever seen that meme where there's like the stick figures panicking or whatever, and then there's a kid that is also panicking, and then they're like, ask the adults for help, and then they come to the adult stick figure, and the stick figure goes, oh my god, I'm an adult, like, what do I do? I feel that on a regular basis, where I feel like as an adult I should have the answers, and maybe I just missed the memo. I missed the meeting where they were discussing how to be an adult. Maybe I misplaced the manual for how to be an adult. But I feel like I'm figuring it out every day, and it's honestly exhausting. I'm laughing because I don't know what else to do. But that also causes a little bit of pressure towards me being at my age. There's never really, it shouldn't be a deadline or a limit to where at this age you should know what you're doing. Like, I hate that the age of 30 is just, that's it, your life is over. If you don't know everything there is to know, if your life is not mapped out by the age of 30, if you don't have this, if you don't have that by the age of 30, like, what are you doing with your life? And that is so ridiculous, because you gotta think, for the first 18 years of your life, legally you are considered a child, and up until your 21 years of life, legally you can't drink, and then you can't get credit cards and things of that nature for a period of time. And then if you want to rent a car, it's super expensive, for anyone under the age of 25. So it's like, for a huge chunk of your life, you can't even do anything. There's a lot of things you can do, but there's a lot of restrictions to the things that you can do up to certain ages. So the idea that you have to have everything figured out by 30 is insane when you spend so much of your life at that point where you can't even really experience anything. It's not until you're about 22, 23 that you have the money to really experience things that you want, because hopefully by this point you have a steady job, no matter what it is, whether it's a full-time job, part-time job, whether you're in school, whatever the case may be. It's not until you're like 22, 23 that you can confidently say, I have a job that I can pay for the things that I need, and then I have maybe a little bit of extra to kind of do any hobbies or anything like that. For years, there were a lot of things I was interested in, but it wasn't until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, when I was 25 or 24, where I had the extra, what's the word called? Something income, disposable income. my disposable income was non-existent, and right now, like, I barely have any. So after I pay all of my bills, it's like I want to do this hobby. I want to pick up this art craft or this skill, or the materials are required to do it though, or X amount of money. It just was not a feasible thing between being young and not having a full-time job and paying off student loans, and maybe I couldn't really invest in anything like that because I was in school and I was doing part-time jobs that you can only do around your school schedule. I say that to say that everyone's timeline is different. It is not a linear progression. And really and truly comparing yourself to somebody else, like, there's no true way to measure it, because you definitely have different lives and you have different, I like to think of it as different flags that you're triggering. Like, the flags that I'm triggering might not be the same flags that you're triggering. They might not be at the same, like, phase of life. It might be a little bit later. You might have duplicate flags. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit too deep into it. I'm just thinking of it as a video game, but I guess life is kind of like a video game, because you're constantly trying to make it to the next level. You're constantly trying to learn everything that you can to conquer the level that you're on. There are other players that get introduced at one point or another, and then it's like, okay, but you're playing a completely different story mode than they are, so why even worry about that? It's a whole lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. It's a lot of pressure that we get from maybe our family, from our friends, from our coworkers, our colleagues, our professors, our kids. I don't have any kids, but I imagine that would be one more stressor for me. And I'm a perfectionist, and I just want to be the best that I can be, but sometimes that puts unrealistic expectations on myself, because the best that I can be is probably lower than I set the standards for myself. Like, I set really high standards for myself that are unrealistic to obtain, and then I make myself upset or depressed because I have this unrealistic goal to do X, Y, and Z, right? And it's not a healthy cycle that I don't know how to break. And I don't know if this video is supposed to be motivational or whatever the case may be. I don't really know how to be motivational, because I am trying to motivate myself. So this video, I just thought that it would be good to talk about just having patience with yourself, setting goals that are reasonable and obtainable, but then also knowing when to adjust, because you might have a plan and things happen, or you have to adjust because your goals change, your timeline changes. Maybe you have other variables that you didn't have to consider before, but now you do. Regardless, there's no manual for accomplishing life. There's no set timeline for when you need to accomplish life. Life is so short that you should do what you want to do. You should do what makes you happy. You should do what makes you feel good inside. You should do what you think will help you improve as a person. Whether it's a goal to be closer to your family, to spend more time with your friends, to be better at an art skill, to regularly work out, to regularly journal in your diary. Maybe it's to start a diary. I don't know. But I find that that's also something that I am challenged with, which is finding a habit and sticking to it. I recently just bought a planner, and I basically planned out the rest of the year up till December. And I said, okay, every day I'm going to look at my planner for the day, and I'm going to say, okay, this is what I'm doing today, and I need to get this done today so that I'll be ready for the next step tomorrow. And then I need to include some days for where I might need a buffer, or if I'm too tired, I get sick, or if work is too long, or whatever the case may be. And so I have an extra day to kind of go through and catch up if I need to. I've also worked in days where I might need a break, so I'm not working on my outside projects every day, because that's the easiest way to get burnt out. And I will say that having a plan, even if it's just like guidelines, is really helpful, because I don't have to wake up each day, or when I know I need to record a video, I don't have to spend the time coming up with the idea. I already kind of have the idea of what I'm doing. Now I just need to execute it, right? So that has been helpful, and it has me thinking, like, why haven't I done this before? It's just, I might have been in a different phase of my life where that just was not feasible. It was not an obtainable goal. But now that I know the importance of it, and I'm determined to accomplish this goal, and I know that I need to complete this goal in order to get to the other goals I have, it's become more important to me, and I'm more likely to see it through, because I see the domino effect of me sticking to my planner, sticking to my content outlines, sticking to my scripts, things of that nature. It's a lot easier than thinking of things of the fly and saying, okay, I need to upload this video tomorrow. And then it's like, okay, but what should I do it about? Do I need to research it? Am I going to draw it? Am I going to do it in a sketchbook? Am I going to do it on a tablet? But like having these notes and being able to research it as well prior to me actually needing to upload the video, it's been very helpful. So that's my next point, is that sometimes knowing yourself is super helpful too, because then you can kind of see some of the things that you're doing that might be problematic, that might be setting you back, and that will give you an opportunity to just kind of take a look at what you're doing and what habits that you could create, or I guess pick back up or keep going. Just knowing yourself and knowing what you struggle with and what would help you to overcome whatever you're struggling with. I think that taking inventory of yourself on a regular basis is so important, and I don't think we do that enough. I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know I don't do that enough. And what's frustrating is when you have family members or friends who have seen you come a long way, granted, but they're like, I don't know why you do that, Jasmine. You know that you blah, 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 blah. Like, you know that when you do this, you do that, and it makes you upset, and I don't know why you keep doing that. When they point it out, and you can't really be upset with those people because they mean well, for one, and for two, they're speaking facts, and I hate that the most. That sounds so awful. I'm just like, thanks, I hate it. Thank you for, paying attention to me and offering words of encouragement. I'm not really loving it right now. I appreciate it. I'm going to take it home and I'm going to reflect on it. It's so hard sometimes hearing someone say, why do you do this? It would be so much easier for you if you do that. And I hear you. Yes, it would make more sense and would probably be better for me. But I have the tendency to do things that are not great for me. I have a tendency to do self-sabotage, which is funny because I'm a perfectionist. I want to help people. I want to accomplish my goals. I want to do all the things, right? But then I'm my own worst critic. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm out here self-sabotaging left and right, and it's a pretty bad cycle that I am not proud of, but I don't really know what else to do. Which is why I am making this video. Have some compassion for yourself, have some patience for yourself, and just realize that it's okay, that you may not be where you want to be in life, and that's okay. You may not have reached a level where you thought you would be years ago, and that's okay. you may be just now starting to do something that you've always wanted to do. That's okay. Better late than never. There's no timeline, there's no deadline, there's no age restrictions to following your dreams. That would just be insane, because who would police that? Who would govern that? Not people who should be. Not anybody who actually has any authority to govern a timeline or a deadline of when you should accomplish your dreams. You know what I mean? Just do what you want to do, even if it's bad, even if you're rusty, even if you're unsure of what you want to do. That's okay. It's okay to change your mind too. It's okay to start something, do it for maybe a month or two, and then be like, actually, this isn't what I want to do. It's okay to start something else. It's okay to shift gears. It's okay to pause on something and then come back to it. Other people's expectations on you should not stress you out as much as maybe it stresses me out. And maybe I'm just talking to myself. I don't know. I just know that I have so much anxiety, so much stress, and so much pressure that honestly, a lot of times I put on myself. Yes, there are some outside triggers, but a lot of it comes from Jasmine. And that's me. I'm Jasmine. I do this to myself a lot. So a lot of this ramble and rant is just being kind with yourself. And it's just me telling myself too that I'm going to get to where I want to be someday. Let's enjoy the time that I have now. Let's just be appreciative and grateful for how far I've come. And honestly, just keep working at it. Keep moving forward, or whatever Disney said in Meet the Robinson, whatever phrase that was. That's such a cute movie. I kind of love it. I know I'm a little bit off track, but my point is that we're gonna get there. If you're watching this video and you're same, just know that you're not alone. There's a whole bunch of us out there that are just trying to figure out life. We're all trying to find this manual that we must have missed. I think maybe they ran out of the manuals of adulting, and we just wasn't there to get it, and we're waiting on them to come up with other copies. It's in production, I think. I don't know. I got to talk to the person who designs the manuals. Sorry, I got really deep in that analogy, and that's just how my brain works too. And I think that that's also a problem. I want to do so many things, but in order for me to be good at so many things, I have to be able to allot for enough time for each thing. And having a 9-to-5 and also trying to do all the things that I want to do is increasingly becoming more than I can handle. And so it's forcing me to kind of narrow down what I'm into. So maybe I can't do clay pots, resin trays, digital art, t-shirts, bags, animated videos. Maybe I can't do all of those. Maybe I can do digital drawings. I can do these little conversations that I have now. I can do t-shirts. And everything else is nice to watch on YouTube. I don't have to dabble in everything that I'm interested in. And that is my problem. I want to dabble in everything. And I am just one person. And I don't have the time to dabble in all the cool things. So that is a blessing and a curse that I've experienced. But for anyone out there who's a creative or who enjoys art, who enjoys making things, whatever the case may be, it's okay to not have it's okay to not make everything. It's okay to not invest in every hobby. It's okay. Just pick 3 of those things and be the best damn person at those 3 things. And then don't let it stress you out on the other 7 things that you can't possibly do. So if you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for listening, well, I guess reading. Thank you so much for reading the ramblings that I've been rambling about. I hope that it was interesting for you, and maybe you can find some motivation as well. And I hope that you also take some time for yourself, just to have peace with yourself, have understanding with yourself, and just know that you're gonna make it. Whatever goal that it is that you're trying to accomplish, I fully believe that you will accomplish it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, even comment. What are some things that you do when you find that you are getting in your own way? Like, how do you find motivation when it seems like you're not where you want to be? Like, how do you motivate yourself to keep going in spite of your own self? Let me know down in the comments. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Okay, bye.